Alright, so in this one, we are going to be doing my Dragon Ball Legends top 10 list that is current of Legends Fest 2024 Part 1. We are a couple of days out from it. We began on Thursday. It is now being Monday, and I do have my opinions formulated from everything I've seen. As soon as I do those long videos of Vegeta and Rose, because I think both are top 10, so I do those long videos to see like where they are in the top 10, seeing how good they can do on really good teams. It's not their best teams, it's not the best teams in the game. I have now formulated my thoughts, and we gotta do a little discussion here of these bottom two characters that I have in this discussion time tier, because I think this is pretty important that we just mention why they don't make the list, because, spoiler, they don't. There's 12 characters here. These two are in discussion tier. So, let's discuss. I don't care about the placement of UG4 or SV, because they're both not on the list. Discussion. They don't make the top 10. Why? VB, you could say, oh, Rose, or rather, G4 gained value because VB. Correct. And a lot incorrect as well. You could go watch the video yourself. I fought a G4. I fought a very high star G4. I fought a G4 maybe twice. And you would think, oh, G4 is running around a lot more because VB exists. And VB is very top tier. Everyone's talking VB, very high praise. You're correct. Maybe G4 should run around more. But the point becomes that G4's gauge and his really only defensive mechanic that he does own is, well, worthless against VB. And obviously, Rose being yellow with canceled buff effects, G4, he just loses value. VB ignores his gauge, and VB will end up killing G4 very fast because G4 is not tanky. And then Rose, well, Rose, if they were to be not last man standing with G4, usually ult, not last man standing, would cancel buff effect and just can't die. So there's no need. G4 is, I wouldn't say, you know, useless completely because he's still very top tier, top 15, whatever, but there is no necessity for this character. And that word is going to be a big word in this video because it means a lot in this video. There is zero necessity for G4. I don't even think Strike Fusions is the best fusions. I think it's Blast Fusions with Omega and Gotenks, which I'll get to when we talk about those three as kind of a thing. But G4, I can't see a reason to ever use him right now. You know, even prior to MV was still chaining him, Triku was chaining him down. You got, you know, all this other stuff going on where it's just not in his favor, and he was already on the decline. And, well, he just is off the list completely for me now, because what does he do? VB's gonna murder him. Rose doesn't care about him. It's not a great look. And then Mr. Super Vegito. Now, Super Vegito is a similar vibe. We'll mention one praise about Super Vegito real quickly before we get into his negatives, is that he does have a blue card that nullifies endurance. Well, Vegito Blue, Rose, and most of the meta, they do not cancel buff effects on blue card. They cancel ultimate and rush buff effects, right? Ulton is the only one that cancels blue card buff effects as well. Presumably because other Ultons would just kill Ulton with their blue card because he spawns infinite blue cards. But Vegito, for the most part, can end up kind of murdering through this annoying character of Gotenks or Rose or whatever that exists there because of said blue card. But his main thing that really exists and people really care about and people, well, didn't like on this release, and now it doesn't really do any. Rush is like a secondary thing at this point. Rush does nothing. Realistically, look at this entire top 10, because it's everyone that's in the green box here. This entire top 10, most of them just can't die from Rush. And if they can't die from Rush, then their ally on their team cannot die from Rush. It is very stupid, but good, because Rush is stupid, that Rush has died down, but with Rush dying down in its intrinsic value, Vegito has to fall down as well as he's frail. I mean, look, we got green VB here. You're going to run double green together with fusions. Like, where is SV running right now? Again, Strike Fusions is worse than Blast Fusion. Maj Buu Saga, I think the best team is still Evil Buu, Gotenks, Majin Vegeta. So where do you run SV? There's no need. G4 is a similar thing. Where do you run G4? There's no need. And I think those two have fallen quite a ways. You know, you could actually say right now that the best character, because you can see someone here, two characters here even, the best characters from 6th Annie 6 months later is going to be not the premiums. Not at all. You know God Goku's not going to make it here. You know GB's not going to make it here. It's just Ulton kind of holding the torch at this point. And Ulton is also not in a good situation as well, but he is barely making the list, which again, we will touch on. But those two, I don't want them to be off the list. They're G4, dude, G4 is like barely, what, 5 months old, and he's not on the list. Like, they stomped him into the ground. They did this with UVB. They've done this prior, and they keep doing this every year. They stomped the Anti-Ultra into the ground. USV, cooler. He got done real dirty because it was just one character. G4 got Triku. He got MV. He got VB, who was on green, so it's really just, like, disrespectful. And he got Rose. He's getting screwed in so many levels. It's kind of just unimaginable, but they don't like G4. They want him dead. They've been wanting him dead since, like, 3 months ago at this point, because Triku just got off boost. And congrats, G4. He's not the worst thing in the world, obviously, but, you know, look where he is, man. I'd be shocked if anyone even puts G4 top 10. I don't think he does anything right now. It's kind of just sad for the guy, which I hate auto gauges, but, I mean, killing a character like this fast is just a bit kind of ridiculous. But the actual top 10 we will get into. I do have it on the side here. Hello, Mr. Phone. We will, yeah, let's get into it. So, number 10, I do have Evil Boo. Now, Evil Boo is kind of weird to me. I don't know why the case is what the case is, but I don't really run into him. Like, with Majin Vegeta, I would run into Majin Vegeta, Gotenks, Evil Boo, pretty consistent amount. And obviously I'm talking about Standard, not Proud, because Proud would always be Majin Buu Saga, right? Now, I don't know what Proud is. I don't really care. But now, and I'm pretty high up in this season. Matter of fact, I can actually just check it here. Where am I ranked right now? All right, let's see. I am ranked currently top 85, so I'm top 100, right? So I played a lot this season. It's great, fantastic. And yet I haven't faced Evil Boo. I faced G4, Ulton, they're just trash units in general. CMZ, who could be like an honorable mention type character here. I faced a lot of other characters more than Evil Boo, despite the fact Vegeta Blue, who is going to be very top tier in this list, one of the only ways to stop his combo, like, at least consistently, is upping their card cost. You know, he is immune to all this other bullshit. Key reduction, card destruction, yada, 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 for, like, what is it, 5 counts there. But card cost is, like, the way to do it. So I would think Evil Boo's value is still retainable, and I still do think that. But yet, I don't find the character in my matches. It's kind of just a weird thing. Is how the lists usually go. This 8 through 10 kind of threshold is always just a little bit hazy of like your current experience of what your experience was prior. And I still respect Evil Boo. I still want to put him here because I know how much of an annoyance he was and how annoying he can be. And him to drop from like, I think he was like 7 or 6 last time I put him on a list to off top 10, I feel like would just kind of be blasphemous. So I want to put him here just because I know what he can do, what he can have potential of. I mean, for God's sake, he can literally snipe rush Gotenks. That exists right there. Like, that is a thing, and he just does that very easily. He just enters, has enemy sub count up. He has main pop, do a blast card, pop your main, boom, enemy sub counts are up. They can't swap. Rush out Gotenks. What happens to blast fusions? He gets really hurt by that, right? Especially because Majin is right there on the team as well. So I feel like he still has respect from me. I don't know why he's unseen. I really don't. Maybe you're running into him. Maybe. I hope you're not because he's annoying to deal with. But maybe you are. But I'm not. I wish I was. I know he has potential. I know what he can do. I know how annoying he is. And that annoyance does not change with Vegeta and Rose. Nothing in their kit is changing Evil Boo. I would say actually you technically gain more with Evil Boo because Gotenks is going to be so much more... you know, core on staple teams here now, Majin Buu Saga and Fusions. Again, he could just snipe rush Mr. Gotenks there. But nonetheless, I think he's number 10. Again, 8 through 10 is always a fuzzy spot. Honestly, I don't even consider it like consistent at all through any tier list. Like, you'll never see 8 through 10 just be like the same characters repeated most of the time. Maybe 8, but like that's the peak of it. But number 9, I do have, it is not Shin. You'll say Shin is going to make the list, and you're correct, but it is not Shin. It is Ulton. Now, I am really being kind by placing Ulton, for one, above Evil Boo. I'm being generous as hell right now. And it truly is because of Gotenks. Evil Boo and Gotenks obviously work together, but if you're on pure hybrids of Ulton, Ultra Gohan, and Gotenks, the mantle is being carried obviously by Gotenks for sure, but that pure stuff that can go on there, the extra damage Gotenks will be doing comparably to Majin Buu Saga, does kinda amplify Ulton to a degree because he has to be running with hybrids, so this is a competent hybrid, why not have him on the list? But you can clearly indicate what is the issue with this character. For one, same thing, Rose, he's not going to really struggle against Ulton. Ulton is a joke, he's not going to drop combo kill, he can't do anything. most of the time, Ultan will just kind of be a joke in Rosé's eyes. And then, as I mentioned, if I say UG4 is not bulky, well, you can bet your ass that Ultan is not bulky, so Vegito can just kind of mollywop through. Honestly, I'm just being generous at this point. I don't even have a full-on, like, yeah, this is the perfect reason why he's here. I just think he's getting helped by Gotenks so much existing that he just barely scratches the surface. Maybe he shouldn't even be on this list. I wouldn't even debate you if you say Ultan's not on this list. But I just feel bad at some point not putting a character that is 5 months old, 5.5 months, whatever we're at this point, not on a top 10 list. I just feel icky inside. So he makes it. I can't stress more. He is barely making this spot over Evil Boo. Like, I could put 9, 10 as interchangeable. I wouldn't even mind it. But I'll be kind, yet again, to this character. He's okay enough. There's spots he will obviously be able to be good against VB, but if he is end up taking a combo against Vegito Blue, I would not be shocked if Ultan dies within that combo. Just how it goes at this point. Number 8 is going to be Mr. Shin, and this is what I'm referring to, where the current best, in my opinion, character from the 6th anniversary that was 6 months ago is a 1% from Part 1. This was not a thing I had in my bingo card. This was not a thing you had in your bingo card. This is a very shocking realization, but it does help you understand that support units age the best. Disrupt / support characters, you look at NP17, you look at Puddle. For God's sake, look at Evil Boo, who is above the 1%. He dropped alongside. Yeah, it is it is a thing that does exist. So, I know people don't like Rosé right now, and I'll get into Rosé when we get there. Matter of fact, we're getting there pretty soon. But, just note that support and disrupt ages the best. That's all. You could clearly see it here. Shin, I'm going to do a video on it. Haven't yet. Probably should have by now. Shin and Vegito. I've heard Shin, Vegito, Rosé. But Shin and Vegito, I have heard talks of doing 150 plus, because it goes 99, but you could just count afterwards. 150 plus combo, 200 plus combo, because Shin and Vegito is such a stupid infinite combo. You know Vegito, he infinite combos, right? Shin gives you cards to already start said infinite combo. Shin has Paralyzed. Shin, the gimmickest thing that exists is the sealing. He is sealing, what is he sealing? He seals strike for strike, right? And then he seals, when he does a blast card, he seals blast. There is literally uncounterable situations where if you were to do a strike, you cancel it, then you do a blast, because they can't I guess they could PV you, but you could kind of time it to where they can't PV you, and then you go for taps out, then they have all cards sealed, and then Shin just gets a guaranteed free combo, because they won't swap. They'll be like, oh, my cards are sealed, I can't do anything. He literally has that. And then you go into, because you have cover null at that point, then you go into Vegito after like a card or two of Shin, and then Vegito infinite combos you. It is brain damage, brain rot beyond belief. I will not, take that away from Shin, but it is what Shin does. Shin is a very, very competent character right now. I guess you could say, yeah, he gained value because of Rosé and MV, and, that's cool, great. And he did. That's not even wrong. But it's because that duo of Vegito and Shin, which, again, I will do a video on. But you could just assume a character that spawns a couple characters cards for your next character, then that next character infinite combos and he's getting supported. Yeah, you could probably assume that's going to be a bit stupid of a duo, and it is. That you could probably say that's like one of the best duos in the game, just because Vegito will not stop attacking. There is no way that's going to stop Vegito from attacking. Nobody can. It's not possible. Shin is very strong. Shin is he's going Nahare mode. If you watch Daima, you understand what I mean here. I'm just shocked this is the placement as well, because I don't care for Shin. Matter of fact, I hate Shin because that sealing is so tedious. But now it's like a necessary evil, because if you're not running Vegito, or if you aren't running Vegito, whatever, sealing off Master Vegeta's blue cards is pretty nice, am I right? Yes, sir. So, like a necessary evil. I hate the evil. You hate the evil. But, like, goddamn, that duo of him. Master Vegeta and Shin is also a good duo, don't get me wrong, but, like, you know how Vegito is working right now, right? Vegito is just, I don't give a shit. Now, we are up to the top 7, and I don't want to be here particularly, because number 7, I'm not happy that this is where he's placed. I'm pretty upset by this, actually. I don't like it at all. But we are here. 8 through 10, once again, I think is very, well, more 9 and 10, but I guess you could cope 8 there as well. Very much discretion based. I don't think it's very objective fully. Clearly, I'm trying to be as objective as possible, but you know, you're gonna have some subjectivity due to your experiences here. And I think 7 is where the things start to get in a bit serious. You could even say there's a gap between 7 to 8 and below there. I wouldn't even disagree with you. But enough stalling. Number 7 is going to be Legends Limited transforming Goku Black into Rose. Yeah, I don't like this either. I don't, man. I don't. But people have said it. A lot of people are saying it now. People have been saying it for since like day 2 of his release, and it's only been like hasn't even been a week yet, so it's pretty bad to hear. But he has a bunch of flaws. Now, I will mention some positives. I don't think his damage is bad, especially after he takes a combo because he gets more damage, right? And I don't think his defense is bad. Matter of fact, I think his defense is pretty competent. But that's about where the positives end. I'm going to point out every negative in his kit, and if I miss one, I'd be shocked because I know them like the back of my hand, because using that character for a long video was pretty grueling, because there was a lot of things that just should have existed that didn't exist. So, no blast armor in base form. That is a negative. How can you cope that? You can't. Gauge does not create a green or blue to reset said gauge. To give an example of character that does, Baby creates a blue card to reset his gauge. Baby, the character that's what, 9-10 months old, with the same exact gauge, creates a blue card to reset his gauge. Rose does not create a green or blue, which both reset his gauge. He does not create either of them. They actually took out an ability in Rose's kit that could have been nice. It wouldn't have, maybe he would have been 6 here instead of 7. Woohoo! It seemed on paper that they took it out yet again. That he was intended to reset gauge when he transforms. That's not in the game anymore. That he took that out. He doesn't do that. It seems he was intended to, or they wrote it that he was supposed to. Maybe he wasn't intended to, but they just wrote it there. It was there. It was in game. They took it out. Why did they take that out? I don't know. Again, it wouldn't have changed too much. It really wouldn't have. But it would have helped. It would have helped. Another reason, there's a lot, so you know, be with me here. His disrupt is not enough. His disrupt is actually just a worse Super Baby 2 disrupt. Baby removes vanish, reduces key, reduces cards. Rose reduces key, reduces cards. Do you see how it's not good enough? Not even minding you that Rose is this much newer than Baby, but also the fact of the vanish removal. How doesn't Rose do that? How? You couldn't fathomably explain to me how that is a genuine good design when the character much older does. And just to point out, Yellow Goku Black, you know, the OG one, the Zenkai one with the plat and all that, he does more to hybrids and Saiyans. Why does this guy not do more to hybrids and Saiyans? Or for God's sake, God Key, you know, what he fought the entire series, for the most part, of when his, you know, showing existed. The first character he fought was God Vegeta, was it not? Like, in the future arc as itself, in the future, he fought Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. Do more to God Key? Saiyans? Hybrids? For God's sake, that's your entire arc. Like, why does that not exist? It's just so stupid. And don't worry, there's more flaws. I'm not done. He only gets neutral on his second main ability. 10 counts. I'm talking offense neutral here, overall neutral. 10 counts on second main. Another flaw, his blue card, to reset his gauge, is a dash forward. And a flaw within the flaw, on both cards here, his green or blue must land to reset his gauge. Now you might say, oh, that's you're kind of nitpicking. I am nitpicking, you're correct. But that also is a flaw. If someone were to quick attack me while I'm trying to click my green card, for 1, my green card gets wasted. For 2, my gauge doesn't reset. And for 3, my green card is a long animation, so it's very risky to just kind of throw out there. It's a Triku green card, right? It's very risky to just kind of try to throw your green card out there. Then his blue card, if they tap you out of your blue card, you do not reset gauge. This character is very reliant on resetting his gauge, getting full again, and rinse and repeating. The fact that I have to land these cards, reminder again, Baby just has to use it, not land it. That is a very, very big flaw. And more so, yes, there is another flaw. I'm not making any of these up. These are all things that exist in his kit. I'm talking very broad here. His blue only gives Vanish back 1 time. Dog. His green doesn't give Vanish back, by the way. His blue gives Vanish back 1 time. Do I have to point out anything else? Again, I compliment him. At the beginning of this little tangent here, I compliment him. Competent damage, solid enough tanking. I don't mind either of those. I think those are good things. Those are great. But look where we're at. Look at the state of where we're at. Do you think good enough damage, great damage even, let's even cope it, and competent, I'm not going to say great, competent tanking is enough with all the character shit that we have right now? Do you think that's enough to be anywhere positive? No. This is a disappointment. Now, I will mention that people are calling for a buff and all this. Friendly reminder to you, God Goku was mostly not rated top 10, or if he was like the bottom of it. Initial drop, he didn't get buffed. And Goku Frieza, who did get buffed, were rated 9, 10 for the most part. So Rose being higher than those, because I do think that is true. He is higher than that. These characters, from their initial drops, they're shitter characters, I guess you could call. I don't think he's going to get buffed. Not a plat. If God Goku didn't get it, and he was rated worse, obviously, because the meta was really against him, because for God's sake, you drop fucking Ulton around him and then G4 after your dumbasses legends. As a matter of fact, I expect the red unit to drop, by the way. I would be shocked. We usually get, like, the full color wheel of premium characters. I expect the red unit to drop, so... Rose, good luck there. Yes, you have defense neutral on entry, but, like... oh, that won't last too long now, will it, buddy? I don't expect a buff, though. This character, there is a lot of marks they missed. There's some things they hit. They did. I won't deny it. I don't like having a character be this low, and I don't like having to rate a character this low. I'm not a fan. But there's so many issues with him, and I just point them all out. If you want to defend it, feel free. You want to cope it, feel free. You want to say he's better, feel free. You want to say he'll age better, feel free. I don't know. I'm talking about the here and now, and here and now. All those issues I just mentioned are all issues that are prominent, in effect, things I felt and dealt with and hated, and I really dislike. Yet again, I'm not talking about stars here, because I know mine's a lower star, and that's okay. For God's sake, I have a 6-star character on this list that is top 3. Trust me, I'm trying to be objective here. And I am being objective, I think, with Rose. These flaws are too much to be even competent of the top 5. Initially, he was like 5 for me. More usage, down. If you could explain, this is the last point I'll make on Rose. If you could tell me why you'd run Rose over Triku, I will consider it all. Rose is better. Rose should be higher. Right now, he's worse than Triku. That's where it ends for me. Number 6 is going to be Omega Shenron. Originally, I did have a thought process of saying, 6, 7, they could be interchangeable, but realistically, Rose doesn't make any core for me. I don't think he makes any core roster as the best character on it. Just doesn't exist for me. But Omega, I think, fits in a very good mold right now. Again, green, red with Vegito blue and Gotenks. I think Blast Fusions is the team right now to run. And it's very good, obviously, against Yellow Blue, which was the previous best team in the game. Maybe this team isn't the best, but it usually, will determine within like a few, days into the season that is like, the real season, when the season actually gets going. About 10 days into a season is like when the season's like real and you could like really value stuff. I think green, red is one of the best, if not the best teams in the game, and Omega does fit there. Now, we know what Omega is. He's PyCon, kind of just a better version of just being that safety, being that, goodness that can exist, but that's the role he fills, and I think he does that role very well. I don't think he struggles with that role. I think he gets better off currently, because you see these purples going even lower, for God's sake, so he's struggling less. You're not running into purples. If I'm running as G4, again, I face the G4, I face an Ulton with green, red. And I destroyed them. I decimated them. Clearly, Omega Shenron wasn't doing all the fucking work, obviously. But the fact that my green, red isn't struggling against purples, my Omega has nothing to fear at that point. He's just there doing it all of his, safety, his individuality, some Dragon Ball instruction, supporting my team as well with his ultimate, giving some big move buffs, so special move, ultimate, yada, yada, yada. Obviously, special moves and ultimates on my team here. So he does his role well. There really isn't too much to say about Omega Shenron. He's retaining good value, and that is the positive thing about him. I think this is one of those characters that just should age decently. He's actually returned, which is ridiculous. He's 4 months old. He's 4 months old, so being top 6, 4 months old, especially when characters right before you that released UG4 are down in the dumps. Yeah, it's not the greatest look, but yet again, as I say with Rose, I would expect a red to drop, and I also expect a purple to drop. Again, we usually get, during these 6-month celebrations of Fest or Anniversary, the full color wheel to drop, whether it be a tag unit part 2 and then the Ultra fulfills the last color, or dual LFs in part 2, or whatever happens. Usually, every color drops for the premium characters. This time right now, it is yellow-green. I wouldn't be shocked if part 2, it does drop a red and purple duo character, or 2 characters, or whatever comes from that. Meaning Omega is susceptible to go down, but right now, he's vibing, he's chilling, and we're here for the here and now. Number 5 is going to be the Tree Man. I think Triku is in a good spot. Obviously, I think Yellow Blue takes a hit, but he's not just restricted to Yellow Blue. Let's be honest with ourselves. Yellow Blue is a very good team. He could get some glaze there, double Zenkai buff. We always love to see that for the man. But what we have to consider, can I get this ad out of the way? Because, like, oh, I can't. Oh, okay. Guess I can't get that out of the way. Fantastic. We'll leave that there. Layers, huh? Layers. Onions have layers, did you know? But nonetheless, Triku here, I think his goodness still exists. I'm really just comparing him to Rose at this point. Like, he's just the better Rose. And you could say they have different roles, but like both of them kind of have this ideology of helping your team via, Triku having his annoying disrupt they have on his, situation of just being on standby. Rose has a similar thing. He's helping his team by giving team-wide cover and all after his gauge, which is effective, but I didn't even mention it in his, positives, because the top-tier units do not need that. Honestly, look at the top tiers. Look at the next 4 characters. Do you think a singular character there needs cover and all from an ally? No. The top tiers don't need it. That helps shitter units. Cool. You can help Ulton with that without cover and all, who's number 9. Whoop-de-doo. It's useless against... Top tiers don't care. They do not care about that ability. It doesn't mean anything to them. But, Triku, good value. It's still, yellow, blue, as I say, it is, getting hurt by this green, red. It is also a discussion that yellow, blue is still very strong. I would say yellow, blue is probably still a top 3 team right now of Turles, MV, and Triku there. So, not much to say. I wouldn't say this new units intrinsically hurts the value of too many characters. They do buff some value. Clearly, you could say like Shin here or Omega. But in a general sense, the top tiers aren't really changing much because all that's really going to change is like color advantage spots, which will be a next unit. But in a general sense, these, VB and Rose are not impacting the meta of like everything is now changed. The Fire Nation attacked. They're having an impact in their own merit of goodness, but they're not reshaping the meta. They're not that good, especially Rose, fucking number 7 here, for God's sake. Number 4 is going to be Mr. Turles, which might come as a surprise. I don't think it should. I wouldn't be surprised by if I saw this here, because, I can do math. I can see green beats blue, and, well, yes, you are correct. Vegito kind of just destroys Turles, clearly in the pre-comeback. He is not type neutral Turles. He has no neutral besides just on blue card. And then, yes, once he is post-comeback, there is that defense neutral that does exist, and that's fantastic. But Vegito is tearing through everything. I understand Turles is bulky, but Vegito can still do, 70% to 80% to defense neutral Turles just in a combo. Maybe even 100-0 if you get lucky cards. Vegito kind of tears through that. Once again, you just have a situation that's worse off for this yellow-blue with green-red. You just have to lower the characters that are on that team because this other team is very good against your current team. And that's what's happening right now with the Turles kind of fall down there. I guess you could say also Omega Shenron on the rise because Blast Fusion, so sure, why not? And let's even cope it. Evil Boo, he can rush out a life of Turles. Lovely, right? I guess that's all we could say there. Again, the top tiers do not have much to talk about because nothing there is really changing that drastic. Turles falling down a little bit because a green came out. What's the discussion there? Oh, wow, baffling news. That's common sense, is it not? Number 3 is going to be Mr. Gotenks. Gotenks is in a pretty goddamn good spot, and I am shocked that he is in such a favorable position. I did not expect Gotenks to age as well as he is currently. Clearly still on boost. He's still new. He just released, nothing crazy there, but to be top 3 as just a random monthly LF type of thing is a pretty nice positive to have. I sure wish a premium LF would have had this experience in the last few days, but no, it's Gotenks instead. What can I say? Gotenks can kind of snipe out some characters as well as just be a resourceful unit in his own merit. My snipe out thing that I mentioned is that you pop main, you have full endurance null, and you have full type neutral as well, but you have full endurance null. You do some cards when, let's say, a Rose is low. Boom, boom, boom. Rose is dead, and endurance null is gone. Whether it be from a blue card or just normal cards there. Boom, you snipe out that character over there, or you snipe out Ulton, or you snipe out whatever, these endurance characters, as well as being that neutral, he will hit very hard in that 10 count setting of that neutral, and more so, keep mentioning it, Blast Fusions, Cup Pen. He is stacking team-wide Cup Pen every time his gauge fulfills. I believe it's, what, 5 times, 4 times, something like that. So that helps a lot. Vegito is clearly the main damage dealer on that team, so having this character help him even more so is very resourceful, as well as Gotenks does supply a lot of green cards. Vegito is the guy that really likes green cards. Gotenks likes them, but Vegito really likes green cards. I mean, as long as he doesn't have his gauge, because essentially they're the same fucking thing as green card and his gauge. His green card's actually a little bit better, but Gotenks supplies that, so the value of him is just on the rise, and that's just where it is. I mean, it's interesting to see Gotenks above Turles, I won't deny, but when you look who's going to be the next character here, well, next 2 characters here, I mean, it makes sense that, well, Turles has to fall down quite a little bit. But I have bamboozled you. I have pulled the wool over your eyes. There's actually no number. Oh, hello. Oh, God, what's happening? Oh, boy, what happened? Wait, what? Wait, goddamn. Okay, we're just gonna change this. I don't know what's happening here. 4. Hold on a second. What just happened? Anyways, there's no number 2. Wait, what happened? Wait, huh? I bamboozled you. There is no number 2. It actually is going to be a 1A, 1B situation here. Well, I forgot the dash. Hold on. Let me cook. Oh boy, everything's falling apart next to me. Hold on. Okay, let me cook. 1A, 1B situation here, of it being the Majin and Vegito Blue. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, Majin Vegito just 3 cards Vegito. Cool, great, not my experience. From my experience, I see it a lot of times where Vegito, people say 3 cards, and you're not going to have your ultimate when Vegito's in base. That makes no sense. If Vegito's in base when MV's doing his ultimate, just playing a bad player at that point. You're getting extremely lucky in that niche spot. But my point being that Vegito is very strong, and as they are 1A, 1B, you can interchange them. I don't know who. Honestly, I don't even know who I'd have above either. Like, I wouldn't mind if you had either above either. I don't have a preference at this point. I think they are that close. Again, the team for Vegito being alongside Gotenks and Omega, or maybe I'll learn that him with Shin and whatever third. I guess you could put Majin Vegeta on that team. Whatever third at that point. The point being that Vegito is very strong. As you know, Vegito does ignore all these silly gauges, and I think he actually is a bit overly done, because Vegito does ignore the gauges, which is correct. That should have been a thing. That this is what Assault Chain should have been. This is better Assault Chain. But Vegito goes a little further on that, which makes him this top 1 thing, because if he didn't go further, he wouldn't be arguable top 1. He would just be like, maybe 3, 4 at this point. He goes further. You just can't stop him. There is just nothing. He's going to be immune to key reduction. He's immune to card destruction. The only thing that could stop Vegito is if you get a good timed situation where your own Vegito, if you're getting attacked by a Vegito, is upping that card cost, and then he could just pop main and just cancel the debuffs, but card cost stuff, whatever it is. Or he just gets unlucky hand. But for the most part, Vegito just infinites. He's doing what LFVB did on initial drop. He's doing what UVB did on initial drop. He's just infinite comboing you. There's no changing that. Majin Vegeta kind of has a similar vibe. He has, 10 counts covering entry, 5 more on his green card, or I believe it's 10 more of gauge shield on green card. He infinites you. But Vegito infinites you, and he's stacking just every card. And yes, he is amazing. He is the perfect auto gauge counter right now. He is. MV doesn't get his gauge off. Turles, annoying gauge. We have UG4, annoying gauge. We have Triku gauge. We have a lot of gauges that exist in this game right now, right? All of them don't get off. They just don't happen. None of them really happen ever at this point. Especially when Vegito is getting going. I don't think there's any flaws with him, really. I mean, you want to transform, sure. There is situations where I guess you could say a flaw exists where, oh, you don't want to save the double vanish, but you want to transform so you get more cards. Is that a flaw that you're wasting a double vanish for another infinite 5,000 cards? Maybe. I wouldn't consider it one, but you could argue it is one, I guess. Vegito is just super, super powerful right now. Does suck. His Zenka buffers aren't the most ideal. I guess you could say for Rose, a little bit of positive there is his Zenka buffers are great. Yeah, Goku got Bardock and just pair Majin Vegeta, for God's sake. I mean, that's a good duo, right? Should be, at least on paper. But Vegito, Zenka buffer is not ideal, so there's a negative for him. It's not even his fault, but it is a negative for him just in a general sense. But overall, they cooked very hard. I am not shocked that a Vegito character is a arguable top 1. It is just shocking that a Vegeta character is an arguable top 1. Majin Vegeta, I mean, you know what he does, you know what he is. I don't have to go into any detail. He is Satan spawned in this current game. He is as tedious as UGB once was, if not even a little bit more so. They both do make blue cards on their gauge fulfillment, UGB and MV, when they pop that full gauge. But Majin Vegeta has like 87 different lock-ins. UGB only has... Does UGB even have a lock-in? I don't think he does. I think he just gets neutral. But he's very tedious, Majin Vegeta. He's very strong. I hope a God tier red drops. Like, the fact that he's number 1 while Gotenks is here, and I could even mention Gotenks could snipe out Majin Vegeta same way he could snipe out Rose. It just usually doesn't happen is the thing. But the fact that Gotenks is number 3 and Majin Vegeta is still number 1, and it's not like... It's not a contestable number 1. Like, he is number 1 tied here. It's not like it's difficult. Matter of fact, it's easier to say Vegito Blue is 2 than to say Majin Vegeta's 2. It really is at this point. Despite Gotenks being here, despite Shin existing, 2 very good counters, and Vegito also existing, and Triku existing, 4 good counters to Majin Vegeta exist, and yet he's still number 1. This character is obscene. I want a red to murder his life because I hate him, but I will take VB. I will be using VB very often as I hate these auto gauges. So VB, good implementation into the game. He is a bit overdone. But again, if he weren't overdone, he would not be contesting Majin Vegeta. Him being overdone is Majin Vegeta seeming like he's a normal character. It's not normal. It's these two. It's these two, and then it kind of dwindles to like normalcy. These two are very strong. The list being 1A/1B, again, up to your preference. I genuinely don't have one that is concrete one here. Is Majin Vegeta / the new Vegito Blue. 3 being Gotenks, 4 being Turles, 5 being Triku, 6 being Omega Shenron, 7 being the new Rose Goku Black, 8 being Shin, 9 being Ulton, and 10 being Evil Boo. Discussion time characters being on the list, obviously. They are not even the next 2 characters that would be like 11, 12. They're just characters that need to be talked about because they have dwindled so far so fast. Let me know what you guys think of my top 10 list of part 1 of Legends Fest 2024. I'll see you guys in the next one.